Oh boy, I want to craft a legendary. Finally, dude. What? 3000 soul ash. God dang. So if you're like me and the grind completely annoys you, especially if you play a Vengeance Demon Hunter because, you know, you're AG, let me help you out with a guide. This is intended for players who do not mythic raid and just want to have fun in Torghast, push for as many levels as possible, and that's obviously from my own perspective. First things first, talents. So what spec I go for, it's usually called the Spirit Bomb build. It's a great build for AoE, a lot of AoE damage, and I would say a lot of resistance as well, since you really take advantage of your demon form and multiple AoE damage and healing. So for the first row, I picked Abyssal Strike because it's very useful out of the whole three. Not only you just damage everyone when you cast Infernal Strike, but you also trigger a Sigil of Flame, which damages nearby enemies and puts a dot on all of them. There is an animal power that also grants you movement speed after casting Infernal Strike. So usually if you need to kite or just want to pull more mobs, it comes in handy. For the second row, the only not viable option in the second row is Feast of Souls, because you won't use Soul Cleave unless you want to burn the extra fury you have gathered. Out of the remaining two, I prefer Fallout because Immolation Aura gives you soul fragments which you can use with Spirit Bomb, so they go hand in hand. On the next row, well, if you picked Burning Alive, you might want to go with Charred Flesh, because your Fiery Brand spreads to additional targets, and this talent increases the duration of that Fiery Brand. And if you have more targets and you're also damaging them all with Immolation Aura, more damage, better. But as I do it, I go with Fallout and with Spirit Bomb, because you cast Immolation Aura, you get soul fragments, and then you use Spirit Bomb. Which brings me to my next talent, which also helps with the other two. Personally, I never could go with Feed the Demon. I mean, Demon Spikes is your greatest defensives, but you can maximize your healing and damage going with Fracture. Fracture has a lot of damage, it replaces the Sheer ability, you have 2 stacks, and you shatter 2 fragments from a target. So imagine, you have Immolation Aura, 1 fragment, you have 3 fragments with Fracture, and if you cast it twice you have more than 4 fragments, at which point you should trigger the Spirit Bomb. Not less than 4 fragments. I usually do this mistake as well, but less than 4, it's not to its maximum potential of damage. The healing part is just the same. Another preference of mine, you could go with Quicken Sigils or Sigil of Chains. Personally, I like Sigil of Chains because you can pull all the mobs in one place, and it also interrupts them, and they are snared and reduce movement speed. If you have some stacks, like I had the problem with the Jailer stacks, in which mobs got their damage increased by a certain percentage, this was useful to kite them if I don't have many cooldowns left, and go back there and kill them. Next row, well, I usually started playing with Soul Barrier, but that is a mistake, because Soul Barrier has a very big cooldown, and it consumes all of your soul fragments, in which you could use for Spirit Bomb. Or if you have some fury left, you could use it for Soul Cleave. So the best thing in here is Demonic, because whenever you start to pull, you should start your pull with Fell Devastation. Great healing, great AoE damage, and it triggers your demon form. Similarly to Demonic in Havoc when I-Beam triggers your demon form. Which is even better, you have an animal power that if you use Fell Devastation, a copy of your Havoc self will cast I-Beam, so it's even more AoE damage. I wasn't that lucky to get that animal power every time. So Demonic, the way to go, you cannot go wrong with this. On the last row, the only real viable talent which always saved me from everything is Last Resort. It triggers demon form when you should die, and that's great because you have demon form then. After that you can cast it yourself to help yourself out at the, let's say, the floor 6, the boss fight. And if that's not enough, you use Fell Devastation and you have another 6 seconds of demon form. So you have 3 situations in which you could trigger your demon form, which is your greatest defensive. You can trigger demon form, then you can use demon spikes, you heal yourself with Fell Devastation, you shatter souls, you use Soul Cleave, and you're gonna be all good. By the way, I go with Venthyr as the Covenant, so you have to use... So when you pull groups, you use Sinful Brand, Fell Devastation, I would say cast Immolation Aura before you pull, and then Fracture and Spirit Bomb. Forgot to mention that Abyssal Strike also gives you a lot of room for mobility. You do not need Fellblade. Obviously, as animal powers go, everything that helps your Immolation Aura, your Sinful Brand, your Fell Devastation are all amazing. even the one with the Infernal Strike, which gives you mobility. So obviously, let's make a live demonstration. Alrighty, obviously here you see an epic and a blue animal power. I'm not gonna go with Perpetual because it's a good animal power, but it relies on the cooldown of Fell Devastation. So I'm just gonna go with Sinful Brand, applies to one additional target. So what I do, cast a Demolition Aura. I need to pull more. Build my Fury up with Fracture. Fell Devastation. Another Infernal Strike just so I can trigger the Sigil of Flame. 5 stacks, Spirit Bomb. Quick and effective. Obviously this is the first floor, this is easy. But look at the AoE and the souls. I never used one Soul Cleave yet. So you build it up with Fracture. You interrupt when you can, obviously. You gotta do the script too. By the way, don't forget that you can dispel whatever buff you see on the targets. Sinful Brand on 2 targets. Animal Power, interrupt that. And Spirit Bomb, by the way, heals you if you deal damage to the target on which you applied Spirit Bomb. But that won't be a problem because it's AoE. This is a perfect elite because you can see me now in action. Fiery Brand. See, now I'm in a bit of a danger. This might kill me. But we have Absorbs. I can use Soul Cleave just to heal myself a bit. Right now I can build my Fell Devastation. See? I have my demon form right now. I even stood in whatever he hit me with. Again. Now I'm healing myself a bit with Soul Cleave. And dead. Alright, so I hope that was explanatory. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Hope it helped all of you fellow tank demon hunters out there. Vengeance style. I will see you guys after the holidays. Merry Christmas. And keep pushing those levels. Peace.